Right guys, it's Sunday. I thought I'd do an update because I did do some yesterday, then I just didn't upload them. I ended up deleting them because I wasn't happy with them. Because I was getting into some of the political stuff and I'm trying to keep away from it. My political view is very simple. All this pro-Palestine, all this blah blah blah. Do what you want. Just don't invite people over here and spend your money, not mine. That's what I'm saying. If you want to do stuff, do it, but no, don't agree with bringing them, and don't owe people anything. It's a bit like one of the strongest arguments is about refugees, because they'll move it as if like we're talking Iraqis, we're talking Afghanis, we're talking, well, why is there so many Bangladeshis then? Why are we getting people from Africa? I mean, we sort of pulled out of Africa a long time ago in the 50s and 60s, so I think they've had their nations back for some time. We don't owe them nothing. If anything, they can go and speak to China, because China's heavily involved there. We're not top table anymore and need to stop pretending we are. But anyway, that's my politics done. Moving on from that. So this week's been one of those weeks where not everything's gone well. The funniest one was a mobile phone that basically it lasted about 3 days, and then something blew on it and cracked the screen from the inside. Obviously sold as brand new on Amazon, but obviously wasn't brand new. So posted it back a week ago, turns up at my door on Friday, posted back to myself because they put the wrong address on it. So I ended up back with the parcel that should have actually gone back to the firm that sold it in the first place, but the post office got the address wrong. No, I didn't get it wrong. Even when they looked at it, the 2 is like got pen marks round going, you've got the wrong address. So anyway, but they recently took the post office over, so it was just a mistake. So it wasn't annoyed, more a case of I could do with the money this month, because I've got a few costs out there at the minute which are problematic. Are they in the wrong lane? Yeah. So I had that. And the company I left decided to do a clawback on some holiday pay by basically doing a tax refund, which in my viewpoint is illegal, but I'm already picking that up with HMRC, but we'll leave that to one side. But it was just because they were owed 3 days holiday, so why didn't they just ask me for the money instead of causing the problem? That company. But the problem with that is it's affecting my tax code for my new firm, because to put it in perspective, they are thinking I had a salary from my last firm plus the new one, so it looks like they thought my tax was out by £9,000. So stuck about 60,000 on my tax code, which means that pretty much most of my earnings become emergency tax, and having to pay the tax on an income I haven't got. So they think I owed them thousands of pounds in non-payments, which isn't actually real. It's just because they did this clawback thing. But anyway, we'll leave that there. But that affected my wages this month. It was a lot lower than it should be. I mean, significantly lower. But just one of those things. Not to be a surprise with the people I've had to deal with, but it did have an effect this month. So the mobile phone money would have been useful. So now I've got to wait probably another couple of weeks now, as I've had to repost it. But also, you see, I opened the 212 account, Investing 212, and I've put another couple of deposits into that. because I want to get up to about £1,000 in there in the next 6 weeks, because I think at that point it becomes a bit more practical. Also, I'm looking at blending it a bit, because its stocks, well, its shares are more based on growth than dividends, and I want to mix the dividends in there, because then you get paid quarterly, monthly, whatever the dividend set up, so it gets a little bit of balance as it grows. So that's one of the things I'm working on. Oh, these guys, thanks guys, blocked the entire junction up. Yeah, so looking at the stocks and share stuff, and I'm going to start doing more videos on that, because I don't think a lot of people understand some of the stuff in there, but also I see a lot of stuff online where it's sort of over promoting some of it, especially around dividends. It's a bit more complex than they're making out, because you've also got to factor in, when they go it's compounding with growth, you've also got to factor in that you've also have this thing called inflation. So the difference between 10 years ago and now is the value of that pound. What you could buy for a pound 10 years ago compared to what you could buy for a pound today. So the point being is, when you see growth on it, it may not be real growth, it's just inflation. So it's a bit like when you go and buy a loaf of bread. It used to be £1, it's now £1.40. What's the pound worth? A loaf of bread 10 years ago. Today, 1.4% of a loaf is changed by 40%. So that just shows that you've got to be careful when you're doing this type of stuff, that you're actually seeing some true growth. Now, my stocks and shares on my ISA account is currently running at 12 to 13% annually, which is supposed to be quite high, because I think a lot of accounts run at about 8%. So that one's functioning well. Hence, I've started this other account, because why am I going to fix something that's not broken? Let me leave that one alone. Let's do our test bed on a smaller account, and then we can try different things, hopefully not lose any money and actually make some, but we just start off small and just see where we end up. So yeah, but got 2 payments have gone askew for some reason. But speaking, when I rang their help desk guys, they turned around and says, yeah, don't worry, I'll be there on Tuesday. And I'm like, but it was an instant transfer. So I thought, alright, I've had enough this week already, I'm not going to get all fussy about it. And something else happened this week. I just trying to think what else it was. It's all cost me money this week, let's put it that way. But as you can see, I'm still quite chirpy and happy about it, because it'll come in, it'll just come back when it comes back. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. And it just means this month I can't go bloody home, because my finances are in a shortfall. But as my wife says, yeah, you being skint is not what other people's skint is. Yours is you can't do what you want this month, which is right, because like she says, you've got X amount in your savings, in investments. You still put your investment. And it's like, yeah, I still did my investments. So the money that's sacrificed is basically my spending money, which means my diet this month is impacted, because I'm changing what I'm buying at the supermarket. That's pretty much the impact on it. But beyond that, things ain't too bad. I can't grumble, and I can see I need to start preparing for the long term, because where I sit in my age, you got to understand that a lot of you guys in the UK, US, you got pension setups and whatever from the state or whatever. My wife doesn't, so I've got to compensate for that, to make sure that if I drop dead tomorrow, my wife and kids are taken care of. So hence the investments are important, because it gives long-term financial support to the family. And once it gets to a certain point, I'm going to open a separate account where it's my wife's fund, and I'll just feed that so that she's got her own annual income coming off it. But it's still early days. I've got to put a fair chunk of cash in yet. Still moving forward though. What do I think about the ID stuff? Well, I'm not even going to get into it. Everybody knows that the digital ID is control. We're dealing with a bunch of communists that want to control everything, every aspect of your life, because they're bad people. That's it. Don't even need to go much further than that. They're not good people. But thankfully, I don't think they're going to stay in power too long, because they've even rotten their own core voters. So I can't see them being elected in. Let's face it, it wasn't because they were good they got elected. They got voted in because Conservatives were so bad. And I can't see reform being much use either, unless they get their act together, which seems near impossible. Because Nigel Farage just seems, I don't know, because obviously you hear different spin on it, but he does seem a bit egotistical, which you can't. It's not the presidential system. You can't do it that way. You need the numbers. If you can't get past 4 MPs, you can be the best party in the world. It's a bit like being the most venomous spider with the tiniest teeth. you can't kill a thing. You can run around with your tiny little fangs trying to bite into things, but you make 0 impact. And that's pretty much what you're going to end up with if they carry on the path they're on. So for me, politics, I'm just sitting there saying, well, at the moment we've got no leadership in the UK. I don't think Farage would be the right person anyway. I know people go on about Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe, but at the same time, why aren't they aligned? Now you're getting to my point. We can't have 7,000 parties or whatever just because people don't like each other. The whole point of a democracy is getting it to work. If you can't even form parties that are functioning, you can't get ahead. You're creating an environment where it simply can't work. It's impossible. Unfortunately, it's where we're looking. Anyway, guys, I'm going shopping. I'm going to go and get some tiger bread, because I'm on my rations now. So it's tiger bread and soups and stuff for the month, which I don't mind actually, because it's actually a bit of a change. Already had a smoothie this morning because I've got a freezer full of fruit smoothies. But take care, guys. Speak soon.